All right. Well, this is super exciting to be with you guys here. Thank you all for coming. And I don't know, I guess I'm here too. So thank you all for being here. So my name is Peter Lee. I was born in South Korea, but I grew up most of the time in Uganda and Kenya in East Africa. And I'm studying Christian ministries.
Awesome. Well, my name is Micaiah Kerr. I am from Littleton, Colorado, and I'm studying nursing.
Great to see you, Micaiah. My name is Addie Daniels. I'm from Chino Valley, Arizona, and I'm studying civil engineering.
My name is Levi. I grew up in Africa just like Peter. We actually went to the same school. And yeah, my major is mechanical engineering.
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Stephanie Bell. I grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm also studying civil engineering.
Awesome. Well, so there's a lot that's being said about the hands-on approach learning experience at LeTourneau, but what are some specific ways that you guys have experienced or like had preparation that felt connected to the real world?
I feel like I love specifically with our department, even starting as a freshman. So our spring semester of our freshman year, we take an intro to civil engineering class and we build a 20-foot long bridge. And it's so much fun. We enjoy it. It's a great time. And then we go ahead and load up the bridge with a tote full of water, and then we break it over the pond. So we make a whole day out of it. So even just starting early on, I feel like there's a lot of good hands-on experience. It definitely enhances lab experience, and I feel like it really helps with the learning. It makes everything seem more practical, for sure, of like, this is what we're learning, but this is how it actually applies. And so I've spent, countless hours in the lab, and it's just been awesome. I love it.
I know for me, this semester I've been doing mechanical engineering lab 2 with Dr. Davis, and it's been so much fun, especially because we use this huge like wind tunnel, and then you can also see like the fog like coming through the wind tunnel like over different objects and studying like the drag and things on it. It's just really cool even just to have that visual experience. But then he also, for the labs, has us come in with a test plan to be prepared for the lab, but he doesn't like set it out like, oh, answer this question, this question, this question, but like, oh, you're trying to figure out how this works, so you come up with how you're going to figure that out. And so it's like really cool how he brings in the real world sort of thing that your boss might give you, like, oh, can you do this? And you have to come up with an experiment in order to test it. So that's really cool.
Have you played wind tunnel ball with Dr. Davis?
Yes. Yeah. Stand like at the back and all this wind is coming and throw stuff at it and it comes like straight back at you. It's so fun.
No, wind tunnel ball was an experience, but it was special. So.
Well, nursing, we don't really use wind tunnels.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, but we do, like at the nursing building, we have a whole room that's set up like a hospital would be set up. And we have beds that sometimes work like the hospital. Well, I mean, hospital beds sometimes work too. But we have like mannequins that are laying there. We also have a lot of, like during our clinical skills labs, we sometimes use each other as patients and like perform assessments and stuff. And they really like hammer it into us of like the correct way to do things. And it's really important because once you get into the nursing field and it's someone's life at the end of your hands, you're like, okay, I'm so glad that my professors were so strict at like doing things right the first time. So I think definitely in our skills lab, it definitely prepared us for clinicals later on in the semesters when we did those things. So yeah, definitely hands-on all around.
Yeah, as a Christian ministry major, we don't get to do a lot of lab stuff. It's hard to moderate a Christian ministry lab. But throughout the classes, they actually encourage us to like be involved in a church. I think that as everyone should, but some assignments are more tightly connected to observing like youth groups or, I mean, even like preaching like a sermon, like observing at a local church and seeing how pastors in this area like form their sermons or like how they go about doing their ministry. I think emphasis on like connecting the students to the real world experience like that and getting connected with pastors or youth pastors like that. I think that's a cool experience to get to be engaged in the real world with like people that really do this as a full-time job. So
All right, I have the next question. What sort of impact has your time as a student at LeTourneau had on your spiritual life?
I kind of want to I kind of want to echo what Peter said about how like important church is, because it's been crazy how important it's been for me, because like you think that being at college, like everything revolves around that, which is true in some senses, but I think it's so important to like even just get outside of like the college campus and be involved in a church like close by and actually get to know people and maybe like serve with them. Like I've helped with Sunday school for elementary kids, and that's been like so much fun. And then like gone on the men's retreats and things like that. But developing relationships with people at church has been really cool, especially with people of like that are quite a bit older than me. When at college you're surrounded by people like their same age, so like hearing like the wisdom from them just really brings a different perspective, which I really like.
No, I totally agree with that. Of getting plugged into the local church has been fantastic, and then just conversations with my roommates and my professors, and just the more spontaneous conversations have been so influential for my spiritual growth. It's been fantastic.
Can definitely attest to the professors. We have a wonderful professor in the civil department, Dr. W. Man just prays like an icon. And I don't know, I feel like especially from a student's perspective, it's so encouraging here to have the kind of staff that we do that really want to invest in our spiritual development. And that's just been super wonderful, because everywhere you go on campus, it's like there's an atmosphere of joy and an atmosphere of encouragement. And even though college is difficult and long hours and lots of sleep deprivation, I feel like there's always people here who want to invest in you, and that's just been super encouraging for me and helped me grow a lot in my faith here, is just being in a Christian community.
Yeah, I love how like sometimes I'll just be walking through ASC and like one of the professors or Stephanie Johnson or people just are walking by and they're like, "Can I pray for you? Like, you look like you need some prayer." and,
Thanks.
And it's just, yeah, and it's just so amazing to be like, okay, yes, I do actually really need some prayer right now. So yeah, just that whole atmosphere.
It's even like the people you don't know that well. It's like, okay, I recognize your face. I know who you are. I know where you work. But like, thanks for praying for me. I still don't know you, but that's great. And it's so encouraging though. So.
I think on the other side too, I think LeTourneau has a interesting atmosphere where you get to know people as more than just professors or classmates. Like, yeah, I mean, because LeTourneau's a big name in the community, so even people that we meet at church that don't go to LeTourneau necessarily have like a sense of connection to the campus in a way. And yeah, like you get to know people in a way that's more than just your classmate or just your professor, like, or even your roommate. You feel like it provides a good atmosphere to get to know someone at a deeper level that really like bonds together as a community. So I think it's really cool.
I definitely agree. Okay, so the question that I have for y'all is, in what ways did your relationships with your professors impact you?
Well, I told Addie this earlier, but like I have cried so many times in my professors' offices. Too many to count, but like in good ways. Like they've been so encouraging or like challenging in a good way, not like academically, but like you can do this. God is pulling you towards this, and no, it's been so good. It's like, I'm at a professor's house probably at least once a month, just getting to meet them and meeting with their wives and their kids. And it is, it's so encouraging to know that here on campus, yes, there's all the college students that are here to support us, but there's also all the faculty. So it's been so cool. Yeah, and lots of tears, but lots of good tears and good conversations.
Yeah, I love how my nursing professors, like, they pray for us before our exams. They, like, usually have some devotional at the beginning of their lectures, or just or just express like, wow, God made us so amazing. Like this is what our body does. Like, and it's so cool to have that perspective and be like, yes, like the Lord made us so wonderfully, and yeah, to be able to mirror that and see that in my professors, and yeah, just the influence that they've had in praying for us, because that's really a need.
I feel like it's just so different at LeTourneau to be able to be in a community where you can go into your professor's office and like be a human and just be a person and be like, hey, I'm struggling, or here's what's going on, or, can we pray? And I feel like it's just such a deeper level than, professor to student relationship, because they genuinely care about us. And I think there's a really deep affection with the students and the professors here as well. The students respect the professors, and they just love on us, and we love to love on them. And like Steph said, a lot of our professors have us over to their house regularly and feed us. And, it's just like everything outside of the, okay, school day, this is what we do, the homework, the academics. But there's so much more behind it to realize, I guess. Our professors here do a really good job of kind of like Micaiah had said about look at what God has made for us. Like, look at these engineering principles and look how everything works perfectly. And we have predictable gravity and predictable laws of physics, and things function the way we expect them to, and in the way that God made them. And so I just have really appreciated that. It's definitely given me a different perspective. My profs have done a great job investing in me, for sure.
And it's incredible because they're here because they want to invest in us and to love on us versus like advance their careers to the highest levels it could be. They're here because God has called them here. It's so inspiring. Like, I just want to be like them someday, but we'll see if I can do that.
It's really cool getting to know them and hearing their stories too, because you're like, wow, they did all these things and now they're like here teaching us, like, why? But it's really cool at the same time. And with the small class sizes and stuff and like office hours, like you can actually get to know them super well.
They're like your friend, not just your professor.
Most of my classes, or if not all of them, I like know the professors personally, like could talk to them about things outside of class and school, which is just awesome. Yeah. Okay, got to the next question. With all the opportunities that student clubs and organizations provide, was there any specific experience from an organization on campus that was meaningful to you, and in what way?
Oh, this one's kind of big for me. So my first memorable experience at LeTourneau was at Stomp, where all the clubs represent themselves. And this guy named Dan Gilzon, he's like graduated a couple of years ago, but he was the Mukapa president back in the day, Mukapa being the club for MKs. And being a missionary kid myself, I was like, I need to find people that understand my story, get together, like grew up in a different culture, community, like looking for those people. And he literally stopped me with a goat foot, like shaped hoof thing that we still have in our Mukapa office. That was just like a really whack experience. But then I got, through that I got involved in the Mukapa club, where all the missionary kids are welcomed, and there's missionary residents who like gives us a place to share our stories, play some games, like have fun with people, and kind of talk through transitioning life back into the States for people that haven't lived here for a long time or like have never actually been to the States before. And like we said, with the community of people, like a church or professors and students and everything, it's like another aspect of community that LeTourneau provides for people to get in touch with that have similar hobbies or similar like interests, life experience, kind of stuff. So Mukapa for me was really big, like being able to engage with people that share similar stories from all over the world, literally, and getting to know them, hearing their story, like having someone to hear my story, and yeah, just things like that has been a huge community that kind of helped me thrive at LeTourneau, really.
I definitely have a related experience, but kind of different. So like not exactly a club or organization per se, but definitely within our department. We have a couple of departmental clubs such as ASCE and WEAT, so American Society of Civil Engineers. But I feel like just as a department, we have a really great sense of community. I've loved when we got our ABET accreditation, our department chair, he threw a party in the civil lab, and we made a bunch of like concrete pumpkins. Since it was around Halloween, we got those little plastic pumpkins from Walmart and filled them with concrete. And then we could like split the outer shell off, and then we had taken a bunch of concrete samples that we had made, and we were bowling on the pad with concrete.
Wow.
It was so much fun. And I feel like, especially the older I've gotten, like the longer I've been at LeTourneau, junior and senior year, I just spend time in the lab. Like I can go in, there's always people in there, there's always snacks in the lab, and our professors are just there and they want to talk. And there's just lots of other students, and we have Bridge Day, which is a really big one that's for the freshmen, but it brings the whole department, and people come and hang out and encourage the freshmen. And I just think it's a really good thing. Especially within our department. It's been such a big thing for me here at LeTourneau, and it's helped me really grow and helped me feel really encouraged and really love what I'm doing, because the people around me love what we're doing, even though we're all dying a little bit sometimes. But it's definitely encouraging to have all of those people. So
I'm kind of like building off both of you guys. Like, I'm not a missionary kid, but whenever I'm at the MIRs, I'm so welcome into the Mukapa group. So that's been encouraging, even as someone who lived in the same house their whole life. But then with the engineering, it's like with ASCE or even with SWE, so Society of Women Engineers, I have felt just a lot of encouragement of like, you can go out and be an engineer for Christ. Especially as a woman, we get a lot of like, you need to do it a certain way. And it's like, no, you can still be a fantastic woman who loves the Lord, who happens to be an engineer. And so We had some fantastic conversations because of SWE or because of ASCE of how you can go out into the field and be a Christ-loving and Christ-sharing engineer. And so that has really shaped me spiritually and also just my academic pursuits, I guess. So that's been fantastic.
One thing that's been really fun for me is playing intramural sports. And I grew up playing as many sports as I could. I have 3 younger brothers, so we were always playing stuff. And so coming
His whole family is known for playing sports. It's crazy.
coming here was so much fun to just play all these different sports. And then with teams being made up from people from your floors, it helped me get to know people from my floor really well, and just get so excited about I don't know, making a team and then all going and playing sports together. I don't know. So some of my favorite memories are just playing sports and coming up with random cheers for our teams or random names. I don't know. There's just so many good memories with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, I don't think it's a club or an organization, but Prayer and Praise is so amazing. I was able to help lead worship my first 2 years, and it just was such a great experience to be a lead worshiper with people and learn more about music and about worship. And I was able to transition those skills into working, helping our church with leading worship. And it was just such a wonderful opportunity to just gather with your fellow believers and just have a time specifically dedicated to just remembering the Lord and just being in his presence. And that was definitely a really, really impactful part of my first 2 years. And then it's still going on, and it's probably been better now that I'm gone. but it's such a cool thing that we have here. So,
Yeah, and to close this out here, the final question is, what has been the most valuable part of your LeTourneau experience?
I'll go first so no one steals my answer, but I gotta say the people, right?
Still my answer.
So this whole time we've talked about community, on campus and even off campus with church, local churches or professors outside of classrooms, and students, roommates outside of residence halls, and like you said, sports teams outside of all these different things kind of point to building a body of Christ that's special in a way that we share similar experiences. We've been at LeTourneau and studying, and professors praying for you randomly in the middle of the hallway somewhere. All these different things I think ultimately boil down and point to just what life as a Christian should look like in relationship to others. I think LeTourneau again provides the atmosphere to not only get connected, but really to dive in and experience what life should be, relating to other people, and kind of developing the community that strengthens you and builds you up spiritually and emotionally and physically and everything else. So the last 4 years, all the people that I've met and interacted with have in one way or another definitely impacted my life, and it's something that I definitely won't forget until I die, probably ever. Yeah. So it's been a special experience for sure.
I definitely agree. I feel it's a huge blessing to be in a place with so many like-minded people of the same age group.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe not the biggest, but definitely one that sticks out in my mind has just been the female community here, kind of like Steph said. It's so encouraging. I love my male colleagues and friends, but it's just been so refreshing to be around a group of Christian young women who really have a purpose. They know what they're called to do, and they're here to study and work hard and be kind of nerdy, because we're all a little bit nerdy here. And so it's definitely been so nice to find that community within my floor when I lived in Gilbert and in the quads now. And I just love we call ourselves the Uncivilized Engineers. My class is the Uncivilized Engineers, but our little subgroup is the Uncivilized Ladies. And so I've just loved their challenging and their encouragement, and just how that's really helped me to grow here. So that's been a big one for me.
This isn't probably the most valuable, but definitely a very valuable thing that I need to plug in here. I have been so blessed by Body Pump, which is Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30. Katie's episode is amazing. And that experience has been, it's choreographed weightlifting with a bell bar and some dumbbells and stuff. And it has been such a valuable thing for me to just de-stress from nursing school. A previous nurse told me, she was previous nursing student here was Body Pump got me through nursing school. And I can say right now, Body Pump got me through nursing school. And yes, it's amazing. Katie continues to say the hard things in here prepares you for the hard things out there. And that just has always been something that stays with me. It's like, if I can do this, I can do that. If I can lift this bar right here, I can help save someone's life. Like, it's really cool to, yeah, it just has been such an impactful experience for me. And the ladies there, I mean, there's some guys there too, but one of them disciples me. And so just the relationships in there, and I love seeing them outside of Body Pump. So the relationships of like going through hard things together has really definitely been so valuable. Yeah.
It's really hard to answer that question because there's so many things. But I don't know, just looking back from like when I was a freshman to now, just like how much I've learned and changed. And so much of it has happened like slowly over time, like with professors or with chapel or with going to church, things like that, that it's, I don't know, it's just cool to see like the beginning to the end and seeing like how much I've grown through it all. So I can't really put a finger on like one thing because there's been so many things, but I don't know, just like the whole LeTourneau experience has been like so valuable. And like looking back, I can really, I don't know, appreciate that a lot.
I would have to just go with people. Like, I know I'm stealing your answer back, but it's mine now. But no, like people, like I was thinking, like when you mentioned Katie's episode, I'm like, yeah, that has been good. I'm not in Body Pump anymore, but I still see her. And she's so encouraging, or other professors or the uncivilized ladies are so encouraging. Or just my roommates and the girls on my floor, like we pray together all the time. And it's like, I don't know, just the value they have shown me in running back to Christ instead of running to myself for strength has been really valuable. Because when you said as a freshman, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was such a mess as a freshman, right? Like, I was stressed all the time. I'm like, I gotta go do homework even if there's no homework to be done. Like, I don't know, but it's like now I can see that Christ is where I put my strength, and just through conversations or experiences in academics or living life, you know, it's just like that has been so valuable to me.